Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, our first one in a series about risk. Know your data. If you've got questions as we're going along, feel free to add them in the chat. If you're watching on demand, you can add those as a comment, and we'll try and pick those up in a later live webinar or in one of our videos. As I said, this is part one. So we've got 3 parts in this series talking about risk, and we've got a in-person workshop after we have these webinars. Stay tuned to the end for more details about that workshop. So, first question to ask, how much data do you have? Take a moment and think. The answers might surprise you. We have an awful lot of data these days, and just documents alone can live in many places, sat on your desktop, on your computers, they could be on shares, on servers, your mobile phones. How many portable devices do you have, like memory sticks and memory cards that might have photos and all sorts of other documents on them? We do really have a lot, and data is not always well organized. And if you don't know what you've got, how can you ever manage it, let alone protect it? So the first part's about knowing what you have, because we have an awful lot of software. Some research done in 2022 puts this at, on average, 110 SaaS applications for the average business. Make a list of all the software you use, and then think about all the various supplier portals and other tools you use as well. Are you starting to get on for that 110 yet? If I just look at my taskbar at the bottom of my desktop screen, I can already count 12 applications without even looking at web browser favourites. And each software will have data. It might just be for accessing files like Word, or it might be an entire thing like your CRM. Then we get to the second part. What can access your data? It's not just going to be your computer in the office. How many of your teams have email on their phone? Their personal phone at that? Do you have VAs in your business? External contractors logging in? And your accountant? Do they come into your office and work on your computers? Or do they use their own at all, where a copy of your accounting data is accessible? Which devices should have access and which shouldn't? If you don't know what there is, again, how can you manage and protect your data? Rules should govern your data for your team, and with contractors and suppliers, you'll want to ask questions. It's your data, you've got a responsibility for it. Make sure it's well protected. So the main crux of today is talking about completing a data audit. We've got 4 parts to this. What data have you got? Where is it? Who can access it? And how important is that data? When you can answer these 4 questions, you're in a far better place to know what you have and then plan for protecting it. Let's look at an example. I've picked on HR here, and we've got 5 columns. I'm making this just high level, but you can drill down more if you want. We have the type of data, so we're talking high level HR data. Then we've got the where location, So already you can see we've got HR software, file share, email, paper files, timesheets. And the more obscure ones, you'll have some data in your bank because you'll have names and banking details for your staff to be able to pay them. You have so many different locations there. So going back to that software audit and the hardware audit, where does stuff live? The who I've kept as groups based on roles rather than picking on individuals. This helps define role-based permissions when restricting access and understanding who should have what. Again, high level, so you can drill down and do individuals, but it could make it more complex because already you can see this little list fills this screen. And the extension of the who is the devices of who has access. So for a lot of this, it's based on HR and directors having access. How many of their devices will they be using to access the HR data? Well, on email, probably all of them, including their mobile phone. Sensitivity and importance are here on a low, medium, high scale. These are going to be subjective in how you rank them. Sensitivity, you may have a more commercial view compared to a personal data view. However, you'll want to consider both of these. Then the importance. If you lost that data, how important is that data for you to have? The HR paper files, for example, in this case, the importance is low because they're just copies of files that already exist on file shares, in software, and in emails. You've got copies. The paper file doesn't matter. If they got shredded, you could print off a new one. Let's have a look at a second example. I'm picking on clients now. Again, high level. Where do you keep client data? And these aren't exclusive examples. You might notice I've left individual mailboxes rather blank on this list. And that's because individuals are likely to have client data in their mailbox if they email directly with clients. We can't lump it all together. You'd potentially need to break that right down, person by person. What are they likely to have in their mailbox? Are some going to have important data? Are some going to have sensitive data? It's something to consider. You can see there's quite an array of places. You've got your CRM, which probably everybody can access because it's a common system for recording customer relationships. But it's very commercially sensitive. You're going to have your prospects, your leads, your actual clients in there. If somebody stole that information, well, they could go and approach the people you're working with or want to work with. Case system. This might be your job system or professional services system. It's where you keep all your day-to-day working. Again, you're going to have sensitive data in there. If one of your competitors got hold of the history of one of your clients, what could they do with that information? Your knowledge base, you'll probably have quite open because it's there to help your staff actually do their different jobs. And if they need cover for someone, well, the knowledge base contains the how to do different things. You got your file shares, and well, in this case, we'll split them out. But you might have it all lumped together and people can access all of it in a very small business. You've got the mailboxes. You'll have client data in the account software. I just said in the bank, you're going to have details of your employee and staff names and their bank details. In your account software, you're going to have the accounting records of your clients. Again, it's quite sensitive information and of high importance if you lost it. But paper documents? Nowadays, what hasn't got a digital copy? Or what couldn't you make a digital copy that the paper document becomes low importance? Plenty to consider there of just client data at a high level. These two examples, you can adapt this to look at different parts of your business, drill into specific data types. You might think about projects. Where does all individual project live across multiple systems? And again, role-based, who has access? And I mentioned this is part of a series. So now you know your data, how much can you afford to lose? Join us next month for part 2 on the 19th of April, as we'll be diving into how much you can afford to lose, understanding how systems can protect you, but the risk of loss at the same time. Then we've got part 3 on the 24th of May, where we'll be looking at how we can layer different defences to protect you. And then in June, we are holding an in-person workshop in Gloucester, which will bring all the webinars together and give you a plan to arm you to responding with precision in an emergency or disaster. That's the 21st of June in Gloucester. If you'd like further details about any of the webinars or to express your interest in coming along to the in-person workshop, use the link or the QR code on the screen at the moment. Fill out the form and we'll get you added onto the guest list and give you some reminders about our upcoming webinars. That's it for today. I hope you've found this session useful, and I'll leave you with this thought. If you received a subject data access request, do you know where your data is, where you need to look, or are you going to be running around trying to work it out? Have a good day.